On Wednesday, April 7th, my father died. I couldn't help but think how my relationship with my father had evolved over time. I adored him when I was a little girl. I tried to bring home good grades to win his approval. But as I grew older, my relationship with him inevitably changed, partly because he changed. He gradually lost the energy that got him outside throwing football pass patterns to me and Hugh as we ran around the elm trees in front of our house. More and more, his immediate world seemed to shrink as he lost his father and both brothers in a few short years in the mid-60s. During my high school and college years, our relationship increasingly was defined either by silence, as I searched for something to say to him, or by arguments, which I often provoked, because I knew he would always engage with me over politics and culture. Vietnam, hippies, bra-burning feminists, Nixon. I also understood that even when he erupted at me, he admired my independence and accomplishments, and loved me with all his heart. I also respected my father's willingness to change his views, although he would rarely admit he had. He started out in life inheriting every prejudice imaginable in his working-class Protestant family, against Democrats, Catholics, Jews, and blacks, and anyone else considered outside the tribe. When I got exasperated by these attitudes during our summer visits to Lake Winola, I denounced to all the Rodhams that I intended to grow up and marry a Catholic Democrat, a fate they considered the worst I could meet. Over time, my father softened and changed, largely because of personal experiences with all kinds of people. When I grew up and fell in love with a Southern Baptist Democrat, my father was bewildered, but he rallied and became one of Bill's strongest supporters. When my parents moved to Little Rock in 1987, they bought a condo next to the one owned by Larry Curbo, a nurse, and Dr. Dillard Denson, a neurologist. One night, my parents were watching a television show that featured gay characters. When my father expressed his disapproval of homosexuals, my mother said, "What about Dillard and Larry?" "What do you mean?" he asked. So my mother explained to my father that his dear friends and neighbors were a gay couple in a long-lasting, committed relationship. One of my father's last stereotypes fell. Larry and Dillard visited my father in the hospital as he lay in a coma. One night, Larry relieved my mother for a few hours so she could go home and get some rest, and it was Larry who held my father's hand and said goodbye as he died.